Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We are live on Rumble, X, YouTube, BitChute, also on Facebook Live, as well as the audio streams after the program. Hello to everybody in the 21 Wire and ACR chat rooms, also in the comment threads on YouTube, Rumble. We'll bring in some of your comments and speak to see what you guys are thinking as well. That video, Turned to Dust by Red Rumble, we played over the break. They start off some of our listeners, and it turned out to be great musicians. But every time I watch that video and I'm looking at the words, it becomes more and more prophetic. It's almost a little eerie. In fact, it's not what I was expecting when they sent that one over about, I don't know, a year ago or little less than a year ago. But the great artists, Red Rumble, appreciate it. Maybe we'll get them on the show sometime. Now, that we've laid out the situation, and there's more to add to this, obviously. So I want to bring on to the stage a couple of people, starting with my colleague Bryan McClain, alternate current radio host of the Boiler Room. You'll also know him as Hesher. That's his call sign. Hesher, it's great to have you with us. A lot's happened in the last 72 hours.
Yeah, eventful week. It's interesting, isn't it, that last week when we had our technical glitch, we had to shelf the topic that we're about to talk about, and to see what has happened since. Because now what we were going to talk about last week is on a lot of people's minds, and if it's not, it's about to be if you're watching this show. So yeah, great to be here with you. Lots gone on. Disappointed to see a lot of things that were sort of, I don't know, almost easy to see coming to fruition here. So we're in the what's next phase right now, and it's going to be interesting to speak about that with you and our audience today.
Yes, and also we want to get some new voices on this as well, and I'm pleased that we're joined by our friend. You'll know him as Uncle Hawes, Workers' Party of Britain, and an authentic Iranian voice, which I think is important to get the Iranian perspective on these events, because it's something that's so often left out in a lot of the commentary. So, Hawes, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Patrick. I appreciate you inviting me, actually.
Yeah, it's hard to restrain yourself when you're watching these things happen and unfold, and the amount of propaganda. I want to go to Hawes first on this. Hawes, I was invited on one of the biggest spaces on X a couple of days ago. I think you were on that space, or briefly. I listened in and I heard you released a beautiful clip that pretty much says it all, which you posted, and a lot of people have heard and listened to that. I just, the propaganda, the organized propaganda to obfuscate the truth and to promote a false war narrative, to me, it's just, I don't see any difference between that in the so-called alternative media and Rupert Murdoch's, News Corporation before the Iraq War. It's the same, just the platforms are slightly different. The technology is a little different, but it's completely controlled because they get boosted and we don't, and they get millions of views and we don't, because we're not preaching the war party line or the Israeli line. So, Hawes, I want to hand it over to you. Firstly, just give us your feelings, your thoughts about what has happened in the last 72 hours. We'll start there.
So just want to say about those spaces, I am 100% in agreement with you that they are, in fact, the latest version of the mainstream media. So what the mainstream media was with TV and radio, with complete control over it, they're doing that here now on Twitter. And forget about everywhere else. Nowhere else really matters. The only place that's really where the news is being used and it's weaponized properly is on Twitter. And these Twitter spaces with our friend, well, he's not my friend, but he's someone who does it, Mario, is the place where you go there. And literally, I was the only Iranian on the space. The other Iranian they have there is a young man who I adore and love, and he's a good lad, but he does not want to argue with them because all he tries to do is give the news. I'm not interested in giving you news. I'm interested in giving you how I feel as a passionate human being with the suffering that I'm seeing that's taking place in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and everywhere else. And now you brought it to my doorstep as Iran. And what, you think we're going to just sit there and stay quiet for you? How I felt on the night of the bombing, I was gutted. I was absolutely devastated because they took out 4 people, because all Israel knows how to do is backstab people. They don't know how to fight. They know how to find people and murder them from a distance and from a range. That's what they did. And they killed 4 people who were the architects and brainchilds of the IRGC, which is effectively the immune system of Iran and has kept it safe. That is what the IRGC is. People may not like them, but guess what? They've kept the nation safe. And they are the ones that they took out. Okay, fair enough. What I can guarantee you is you will not take out another person again. You will not take out another member of the IRGC command structure. Because right now, because we know what you're like, because you did exactly the same thing in in Lebanon. You did exactly the same thing. You killed Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, and you killed commanders because you've got technology, and I know that technology is good, and you're getting it from America, and you're obviously one of the best people at it as well. But that will never happen again. And you thought by decapitating Iran, the 4 top leaders, or the aerospace, architect for the missile system, if you killed him, you think that's going to affect us? We're not a militia. We're a nation. And Iran has been waiting and preparing for this day. And this day is not even started with who the actual war is, which is the United States of America. Israel is a nothing state for us. They're a nothing state. And they are, the only way they could actually do anything will be to use nuclear power. That's the only way. And if they do that, that's the end of the Israeli state. That is when the Samson option comes in. But me as an Iranian, I felt so good on Friday the 13th. 1:26, they bombed my capital, the capital of Iran. Yeah. And in the evening, Dagh Dilam, which means the fire in my heart, was quenched when I saw those missiles coming to Tel Aviv. The hubris of these people to think that they can do whatever they want because they've bombed Lebanon, because they've bombed the living daylights out of Syria. They think they can do that to Iran. Iran is the axis of resistance. We are the nervous system. We're the backbone of it. You've tried it with Yemen and you didn't win with Yemen. What makes you think for 1 second you're going to win something with Iran? You're out of your mind, mate. And the technology that we've got is the stuff that we've given to all these countries to allow them to defend themselves, to allow them to be able to resist you. We are not, like someone in a Mario space says to me, Jose, are you not worried about that your proxies are not able to help? I said, it's time for them to rest. There's no need for them to do anything. They've suffered enough. Let us now take the shoulder. We'll take the pain. We'll take the missiles from Israel. Let Gaza get some rest for 2 days. Let those mothers in Gaza and those children sleep for 2 days, 3 days. And let us take all the body blows for you. And I promise you, Israel is going to suffer. And it has suffered. It's not suffered enough yet. Because what Iran has done to their infrastructure, 3 of their military bases have gone off the fucking map. Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm so angry.
Pardon the French. Pardon the French.
Pardon the French. I apologize. But you've got to understand, yeah? We've taken out 3 of their military bases. They're not allowed to show those pictures. They have lost those bases. And what we're doing to Tel Aviv is still not 1% of the damage that they've done in southern Beirut. Not 1% of the 90% of destruction they've done in Gaza. This is not about revenge. This is about making them understand. We have a saying in Britain, what do you do with a rabid dog? You put it down. Israel is the rabid dog of this area. And it's got this philosophy of the greater Israel. You're going to have a greater Israel? Try it. See what happens. You've now picked on a country that has been preparing itself for war with America. Iran's missile systems, all of our strategic depth and everything else. It's about fighting the United States should they decide to attack us. Do you really think, as a country with 20,000 kilometers between the top end of you to the bottom of you, we've got enough missiles to be able to hit every square meter of your country and damage it? We're showing restraint and only hitting the things that we need to hit, unlike you and what you've done in Gaza. Patrick, yesterday I loved watching a video of an Israeli guy one night before showing me how the Iron Dome is going up from the top of his building, and he's happy. The next night, that Iron Dome got blown up on a video that he was taking. And I'm like, that's your Iron Dome, mate. That is precision. Iran has taken out your Ministry of Defense. It's taken out your depots, your fuel depots. Carry on. And we're not stopping, and Iran does not want to stop. And I said, and I've said it to you, Patrick, before in Spaces, I said I can't wait for Israel to attack Iran, because we as Iran can't attack them first, because we've got people in our country who are called the reformists. And if we were to attack, they'd say, you've brought this on us. Same situation as Hezbollah saying, you brought it on us, where the whole country is divided with, if we attack first, we're going to, and we wanted to attack, to do what? To stop what's happening in Gaza. But we had to wait, and we had to wait. Now, the whole world has seen what Israel has done. The whole world has seen what Iran has done. And you know what? We didn't start it. But I swear to you, and I promise to you, we're going to shape the ending of what happens here. Have no doubt whatsoever that the ending will be something that we planned in Tehran, and it's something that these guys are going to have to accept. There is no way that we're just going to walk away from the situation. They're pleading through their proxies and agents. Can you please stop bombing us? No. Stop killing people in Gaza. A permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Release all the prisoners that you've got in prisons that you're raping left, right, and center. And make sure there is no more like annihilation and assassinations of the people of Gaza. Because every day they're doing that, Patrick. I saw a video of an old man who couldn't even take a long step. He was destroyed by a missile. They're doing it for fun. This is a genocidal group of people that do not deserve to stay in power. They need to be removed from their position. This is a society that is sick, that thinks it's okay to kill people, to starve 2.3 million people. What are you doing? It's not acceptable. We live in 2025. We're not living in a world where you can be the biggest bully in the world and you're sitting there in a room full of cowards and a room full of, people who are not willing to stand up to bullies. Iran is not going to be cowed by anything you want to do. You do what you want to do, and we'll give you an answer. And if the United States of America wants to get involved, we're ready for that as well. It's up to them. I don't want to see it because I don't want to see body bags in Iran or in America. I don't want to see an aircraft carrier destroyed, but I promise you, if the Yemenis are able to drive their aircraft carriers deep into the Arabian Sea, I swear to you, the Iranians will sink your aircraft carriers. And if that's what you want to do, that's the end of your projections of power through your aircraft carrier fleet. And I promise you, there'll be no bases left in your area. There'll be no American bases in Abu Dhabi, none in Qatar, none in Saudi, none in Iraq. The ones in Iraq will get invaded by the Shahab. There'll be nothing left for you to do. There'll be all of your Asian, the only place that you're not going to get attacked is Turkey. That's the only place. But all your other bases, I swear to God, they'll be taken out. I've seen Al Udeid Air Force Base because I was in Qatar. I've seen it close up. It doesn't need a lot to stop it from becoming an Air Force Base. You don't have the military hardware to be able to put up with the overwhelming number of missiles that Iran can deploy to every single one of your bases. There is a Red Cross hair tag on every single one of your bases. Do it. That's what I've said from the beginning. Do it and see what happens. If that's what you want to do, do it and see what happens. Because Iran is not looking for wars. But I promise you, we'll end it with you. And then you can go and do what you got to do, which is what our friend Scott Ritter said yesterday. America will not suffer the loss of an aircraft carrier. They're going to hit you with nuclear weapons. That's what you got to do do what you got to do. Go for it, mate. If that's what it takes for you to try and keep your prestige, go for it. I, as an Iranian, I swear to God, Patrick, I wish my back was well enough for me to get on a plane and go to Iran. I can't even stay in a taxi for 15 minutes to go to the hospital. I would be on a plane to Iran right now if my back was not broken. And look at me. I am one Iranian, yeah, out of millions of Iranians that are sick and tired of seeing what they're doing to Gaza, that are sick and tired of seeing what they're doing to the region. And this Greater Israel project, it needs to end today, now. This is it. These people have to get on their knees and say, please stop bombing us. And that's what's going to happen. Nothing else is going to matter. I don't want to see us make peace, a halfway peace with these people. They need to accept that their behavior is unacceptable in 2025. And all of those governments that have supported them, they need to be taken to The Hague. Every single political leader that has allowed this genocide to happen to the Palestinians. I'm going to stop there. I could go on because I'm fuming.
Yeah. And with good reason, Hawes. You know, there's been a lot of people have been talking around these issues. There's all of these kind of, talking points, the flack they throw up, like, well, you shouldn't use the term genocide. That's not really appropriate. That's what the numbers aren't really trustworthy. They're from the Hamas-controlled Gaza Ministry of Health, and so on and so forth. This has been going on since day one, okay? And in their own little bubble, which is a very small bubble in the global sense, it's Israel, the United States, and pockets of the UK and Europe actually believe some of these nonsensical gaslighting tactics, basically. And the rest of the world doesn't buy it. The rest of the world can see with their eyes what's really happened, and they're horrified by it. They've made their judgment and their determination already. There's nothing that no bit of wizardry and sophistry that the Israelis or the Americans or the British government or the French government or the German government, they're knee deep in all this, by the way. There's nothing that's going to change the reality of the situation. Hesher, I want to go to Hesher. Thank you, Hawes, for that. We'll come back to you with a couple of other points, which I'm sure you'll be able to elaborate on. Hesher, you and I have lived through a few American prosecuted wars in our life, so we are very, very steeped in the whole, I would say, the pomp and circumstance, the ritual, I would call it the media ritual of the run-up, ramping up a war. And I wish I was in America just to watch the BS, but and just sit there on the cable and just let it rip on CNN and Fox and see what they're saying. Have you had a chance to dial into that? If so, have you noticed anything different, or are you completely disengaged from mainstream media? Or go ahead.
Well, I've been pretty much glued to X. That's where all the action is happening, it seems like. I mean, I've seen a couple of clips of mass media cartel garbage posted up there on my X wall, and it's exactly what you would expect. I mean, it is the ritual. We're in the mode right here, and I guess the other thing I'm noticing is they're almost giving more attention to this whole, we don't want any kings, protest than they are what's going on in the Middle East. It's actually kind of amazing. Same with the military parade. Like, we had the military parade, and we had all these protests going on, and the media wants to focus on all that, while we're just sort of, stumbling into a potential World War III situation. Our politicians are just going willy-nilly and deciding to put targets on the backs of their own citizens, while they're backing Ukraine, doing these attacks inside of Russia, and saying that they're not. That's the other thing. It's like, out of one side of their mouths in the mainstream media, and even on their truths and their truth socials and their social media accounts. And I agree with you, Pat. It's absurd that we're seeing policy being spit out by politicians on social media in the first place. Like, that's a huge shift. We should all take a breath and acknowledge, what that means and where that's all going. But yeah, they send intelligence. They say Pete Hegseth is, watching on the screen while all this is going on. Always dubious of that, but and then they'll be like, oh, we didn't know this was going to happen. Oh, we told them not to do that. These kind of mealy-mouthed, excuses that are just flat out lies. You know, it's like a sad game of good cop, bad cop that is designed for like our grandparents or something like that. You know, people that used to only have 3 news channels and a couple hours of news a day, you know, but it's just a bombardment of this dissonance. So, yeah, it's been pathetic in the mainstream media as far as I can tell. They're being distracting. And when they are talking about it, they're being very warmongery about it, you know. So yeah, pretty much exactly what you'd expected. You're not missing much. The ritual is the same as it has been. Weapons of mass destructions, blah blah blah, all this biblical garbage. You know, I'm sick of the biblical stuff coming from these people. It's like, get out of here with that. You know, we're living in 2025, and we would like to have peace. And you know, they say tens of millions of people voted in Donald Trump because he said no new wars. There was a promise of no new wars. He was supposed to be the peacemaker, and now it's just like the deal maker. You know, the threatening hustle of the mafiosa tactic, you know, like a protection racket or something. Like, you got to come, we're going to beat you up, and then you got to come to the table and you got to let us make a protection deal with you, but we're the boss, we're in charge. Saying this to sovereign nations, while sovereign nations have been watching the United States and the whole Atlanticist bloc subvert, destroy, collapse countries left and right. And oh, by the way, doing the same thing here at home, doing the same thing to their own citizens here at home with their garbage culture wars and all this stuff. And we know it's the same crew of people involved in that that are doing all this.
Yeah, divide and rule, divide and rule. And just to show you how underhanded it all is, we'll bring I'll bring this up on stage here. And this is okay. This is the Times of Israel, guys. Okay, U.S. helped lull Iran into a belief no attack was imminent during negotiations. Israeli source: the attack on Iran was preceded by a deception operation that includes media, diplomatic components, both internal and external, involving various actors. That includes Steve Witkoff, who is an Israeli, who's acting as an Israeli agent. Okay, nobody heard of this guy. Nobody heard of this guy before Trump came in, and all of a sudden he's the de facto Secretary of State, running around basically managing 3 failed geopolitical flashpoints, 3 failed negotiations. And why is he in there? Is it because he has great knowledge of Russia? Certainly not. He couldn't name the Donbass republics. Okay, that's how deep his geography is. But he is handpicked by Israel, and he's there to deliver a result for the Israeli lobby. But he's masquerading as this American diplomat guy. And here we have admission from Israel, and they're being quite open. The chutzpah, Haz, you could say, the chutzpah is kind of showing. They're not hiding it now. They're sort of proud of what they've done here. And again, this is the Israeli press, so I'm not quoting anything in the West, of course, on this. But you know, that's the reality of the situation. And so Donald Trump set up negotiations, lulled Iran into thinking that, you know, there's a chance to somehow, you know, have some kind of a armistice by the end of this, and, you know, people can breathe and get on with the, you know, maybe lifting sanctions or something like that. Then they kept moving the goalpost. 3% enrichment, 0%. Oh, there might be a chance for 3, and then back again. It was all a game. It was all a game. Why would the Russians want to negotiate with the U.S. now after watching this? Very, very strong question that needs to be considered, okay? Russia's not stupid. Why would you trust the U.S.? This is the worst double cross in modern history. This is, Hawes, I think, you know, World War I, where the only option was we need to go to war, and avoiding a diplomatic settlement, avoiding negotiations. And, you know, the biggest disasters of the modern era result from this type of thinking. I thought we got past this in the modern era. We're in the 21st century, right? Or wait, is it the 19th century? And who's this guy in charge in the United States? Where did he come from? How did this happen? I gave Trump a chance. I wanted him to be successful. I took him on face value. Okay. But talk is cheap. And I'm looking at the results, and the results don't look good. And we're only 5 months into this administration, Hawes. So I am I'm past disappointment. Now I see Donald Trump as a threat to humanity. That's kind of where I'm at right now. The stuff he's tweeting out and putting out is just so imbecilic and insane and unhinged. He can't possibly be the CEO of the world's most powerful country. It just can't happen. I'll take Sleepy Joe, with the dementia, drinking hot chocolate, and with his wife running the country. I'll take that. Honestly, it's as bad as that is. I'll take it over Trump right now. And that's really not a good, that's Hobson's choice, and it's not a great choice. But I would wager that that's less dangerous than what we have now. Hawes, your thoughts on this, or am I just completely over the top?
So I need to correct you on a couple of things. Steve Witkoff has played a blinder. He's not there to do things for America. He's not there for America first. He is literally an agent of Israel. And he's done exactly what Israel wants him to do. He's gone into Gaza, tried to make deals, and just kept pushing the boundaries back, kept pushing that. So he's done his job. His job was to create an atmosphere, an environment for things that can go wrong and then blame people. He is an agent of chaos. He is an Israeli first agent. So he's done an amazing job, but not for the American people, because he's not in a position to be in anything for the American people. It's not an official position he's got. He's, the best buddy chum of special, agent of chaos of Israel and America. So that you need to understand, he is not there for America. He is literally there to do the job of Israel. So that's number one. The second thing I want to say to you about Donald Trump and Joe Biden, that's the second mistake you've made. The second mistake is you think there's a difference between Joe Biden and Trump. It's still the same hand that's behind both organizations.
It was more of a lesser. It was more of a lesser of two evils argument I was making, but I get your point, Hawes.
You see what I'm saying to you? For me, there's been no difference. I cannot turn around and say that Donald Trump is any worse than Joe Biden, because I don't know how much damage Joe Biden would have done. But definitely 100%, this is all going according to the Zionist plan. And it is a Zionist game plan. And, America's basically, unfortunately, unless people in America decide we don't want to lose our country, right? And I mean lose their prestige and stop being a superpower and just become another, world power and be a small part of the world power group. Because the economy of America is not what it used to be. And your debts are eventually going to come to a point where you can't keep printing money. And you're not going to be able to just do what you want to do financially. When that happens, guess what? The world's going to come crashing around your ears. You may have the biggest, baddest military in the world, but guess what? Rafael airplanes were taken out by Chinese airplanes. You think their planes are worse than yours? 3 F-35s, which is the elite fighting airplane of America, taken down by Iran. People need to, what I say to people is, don't rely on your capacities that you think have got. And it's just something about just being a bit more humble. And don't think everyone's an idiot. Don't think Iranians don't know what they're doing. Don't think the Russians don't know what they're doing. They're watching every single move you do like a hawk. And they are playing 3D chess with you. That's why Iran right now has the whole world behind it, because they're the ones that got attacked. And I promise you, they weren't, surprised by an attack. They were only surprised by the timing of the attack. They knew there's going to be an attack. They didn't realize that the Israelis would have the audacity to attack and kill leaders like they did in in Lebanon. That's a strategic mistake of the intelligence apparatus of Iran to not take into account that something like that will get done by them. That's the only failing. And also the other failing is, I don't think that the Israelis did it on their own in Iran. they had help from people. Just like I think they had help to kill President Raisi. There's people in Iran who are the reformists, and I wouldn't put it past them to see these people who are, all four of them, are war hawks on behalf of the national pride of Iran. All four of them are servants of the state of Iran. Taking them out has helped them, they think, as the reformists. But the backlash in Iran is so huge. There are no more reformists. You know who the reformists are? The 5 or 6 people that are around the president. And he right now is having to bend his head and go, I made a mistake. And so there is no more reformist anything left. There's still some who would like to, I said I made dead and monologue earlier. The problem with Iranians is there are people in Iran that think they're going to become the next Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos in Iran. Wake up. You are never going to become that. Iran is not a capitalist state where you're going to be able to rise above everyone else and do this, that, and the other. In the end, at the end of it, and I'm not a Muslim, it is an Islamic republic, which means the people look to the religious person that's led the country and led it well to make it a regional power there, but with a moral compass, a moral power. Because Iran is not lashed out at anyone. All Iran has done is support nations. That's the difference. So the Zionists, the Israeli lobby are playing a blinder. The Jewish supremacists, people like Ackman and others like him who are tweeting every day for, Israel should get the help of America. We should go in there. Do it, mate. Do what you got to do. Fill your boots and see what will be the final thing for you guys. You may destroy Iran, but I promise you, America will no longer be what it is, and your economy will be destroyed because oil will not be what it is today, because we'll close the Straits of Hormuz for you, and we will bomb every single one of your oil refineries, and I call them yours, the ones in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, all of them will get flattened, because if you think you're going to attack Iran and destroy us strategically, and we're going to allow this area to not go up in fire, you're out of your mind, mate. You're going to be paying oil prices where oil is going to be $20 a gallon in America. You tell me what business is going to survive with oil at those prices. And I promise you that's what's going to happen, because we'll take out 40% of all the oil production in the whole of the world. And I promise you, we've got the missile systems. When the Yemenis use drones to attack the north fields of Saudi Arabia, you think a ballistic missile won't be able to destroy your oil fields of your friends and whatever else? You think they've got capacity to do what Israel did with its 3-layer defense and did nothing? Accept it. You have to come to the table and you have to talk like a sensible people, and you need to get this rabid dog, Israel, out of your sphere of they can do whatever they like. Not happening anymore. It's not acceptable.
It's the junkyard dog of America in the Middle East there. The chain is a little bit too long for a lot of people's liking at the moment. But just before this kicked off, there was an intelligence leak, these documents here coming out in the Iranian media, the documentation that Israel was working with the International Atomic Energy Agency chief, Rafael Grossi, who's an Argentinian, and been coordinating with Israel and carrying out its directives, including getting information about Iranian nuclear scientists so that Israel could target and assassinate them. You know, this is really dirty business with the IEA. And just before this Israeli attack, there was a fake report. It wasn't fake, it was a real report, but the contents, the conclusions are fabricated, that Iran is in breach of the non-proliferation treaty and heading towards a bomb. It was a total WMD Iraq-style setup. And here you can see this story is pretty incredible, but this kind of quickly got buried. But it was very important because it shows you how Israel's penetrated these organizations and the U.S. to get them to, create the conclusions. Like Hesher, much like the OPCW did laundering the Syrian chemical attacks, they were totally penetrated by U.S. intelligence to produce the fake results that gave the kind of moral, you could say, justification for bombing Syria or trying to overthrow Assad. And they just kept doing it over and over. And these are UN organizations that are completely infiltrated, totally co-opted. So Iran's saying, "Oh, we don't want to do business with them anymore," and then the international community of the West, America and its G7 allies saying, "Oh, look, Iran's not complying. Look at those Iranians. They're just not on board. They don't want to play by the rules." And look at this, you guys. I didn't have to look far.
Yeah.
And this was, I think, in 2019. I think Israel's Prime Minister Naftali Bennett meeting in private with the IAEA chief Grossi about Iran's nuclear activity. The irony of this, guys, and today's film on the Sunday Wire is Israel's bomb, a nuclear radioactive taboo. That's our documentary on the Sunday screening, talking about the Israeli nuclear program. So Israel has a nuclear arsenal, and they're talking to the IAEA about Iran, but Israel doesn't have to declare or come under any supervision. I mean, Hesher, how long can this BS go on, honestly?
I don't know. I mean, this is the kind of thing, again, that the entire world had. You're right. People think that like people in other countries are stupid or something like that, or like they don't have the internet, or they're running around in like Flintstones cars or something like this. These policies have been the way of the walk of the U.S. and NATO and the G7 countries for so long now. And it's just like they do it openly. They do it completely openly. Anyone that's been paying attention since 2014 knows exactly how this situation in Ukraine has developed, and exactly what maybe not exactly, but to what a great extent the United States, their CIA, and our politicians had to play in setting up that scenario. And same thing goes with the Middle East. And this goes back well before 9/11, but 9/11 was the planting of the war flag, obviously. And, everybody has stood by and watched as we've gone through and just destroyed all these countries, just transformed them, disrupted them, turned them into places that were once, on a path to a modern life and some semblance of freedom, to have their own path. But no, we have 9/11 happen here, and then all of a sudden we're off on the forever wars. We're on wars against concepts and wars against regions and wars against policies and wars against fighters that we have set up, that we have trained, that we have sent arms and weapons to, and in skirmishes that would not have happened otherwise. And the whole world sees this happening. Anyone with eyes and ears and time and gray matter between their ears can see that this is how we ended up here. So to pretend like that's not happening, or that didn't happen, or it's not so well documented, the goings on of the color revolutions and what the CIA has done and what the media has done. My goodness, what the media has done. You people are shameful, absolutely shameful. And the way that they have infiltrated the new media, the We Are the Media era, is so obvious. It's so obvious. We can see it. Again, if you have eyes to see, ears to hear, and time to put into it, you can see that the so-called alternative media has been the podcast, the mega podcast circuit. It has been completely corrupted too. So how do we get out of this? How do we get out of this with such a expansive media propaganda web going, and so much radicalization, so much radicalization of worldview from people that, have nothing to do with war, right? Like people who are simply sitting there watching screens. It's crazy that this is where we're at. And the one thing, this would be my message to Donald Trump. You campaigned on no more wars and stopping wars. And this particular war, my friend, Mr. President, would be over pretty quickly if you just said, you know what? Screw you guys. We're out. We're sitting this out. No more money, no more bombs, no more intelligence, no more U.S. taxpayer dollars going your way, no more telling us what to do on Capitol Hill. We'll sit back and watch you guys deal with this. Good luck. That's all that needs to happen. Really. I mean, that takes the target off of all of our backs here in America. If that doesn't happen, guess what? Targets are on our backs. False flags will be abound. Real events will be abound, and you won't be able to tell them apart. And the politicians will start politicking, and we'll get involved, and it just gets ugly from there.
Yeah. How can we get out of this? Well, they're trying to manufacture consent for certain actions to take place to get public buy-in. Our job really out here in the independent sphere is to bring the truth, bring the facts, bring up some objectivity, some sanity. A little bit of humanity helps too, to basically get people to think for themselves, and don't be a part of the manufacturing of consent. You should be able to come to these realizations yourself. There's a lot of people out there that are smart enough to basically see fraud and propaganda when it's put in front of them. Hawes, one of the things that is often underestimated, and that's why we're bringing this. This is a live feed here. I think this is Al Mayadeen or Al Jazeera. I think the sophistication of the Iranian defense matrix is many years in the making, and they prepared after the Iraq War or during the Iraq Wars when they really started preparing, because I think they weren't naive to think this day wasn't going to come. Hawes, is what I'm saying, that they knew this day was coming. It was just a question of when, not if. And so we have some of the graphics here up on screen just showing some of the various missile tech, and Israel thought that it had crippled the Iranians on the first day. They were doing victory laps. There were celebrations. People were trying to pummel us on social media, and you were there on the front line of that discussion, of course. Yeah. But how badly distorted is the Western understanding of the Iranian defense, of the Iranian society, of its government? Go ahead, Hawes.
So, Patrick, first of all, I want to just go back to a point that was made by Hesh. I hope to God that people like you and your voices are the kind of people that get listened to, because you are a fair person when you talk about these things. And it's people like you that will hopefully change the balance of power when it comes to people listening. So that's a compliment to you. I've watched you and followed you for a very long time, since October, 23. And I hope to God that your voice becomes amplified by 1 million, because we need voices, American voices like yours, that just don't lie, that just tell the truth and see it as it is. So far as the Iranian side of things, what I can say to you is I don't know what Iran is able to do. What I can see is the results of what they're doing. What I can see is they've turned around and said, we are now finishing up with the old stockpile of ballistic missiles. They've not actually started using the latest ballistic missiles yet, because they want to get rid of some of the stuff they've had for 15, 20 years. That is the ballistic missiles they've got rid of. And you know as well as I do that the United States of America has most already got a 6th generation fighter that's already built, okay? And they don't sit there and advertise it. No one who is a serious nation state would advertise what they're capable of doing, because as soon as you turn around and say, our capability is X, they start to work out how can we, stop X from working. Iran's technology is something that is homegrown, so it's not something they've relied on anybody else to come over and give them any favors or anything. Everything they've done is homegrown. Everything is getting, for instance, a license for the S-300s, and now the Iranian version of the S-300 is as capable as the S-400, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I saw videos of the Israelis trying to attack Tehran last night, and all you hear was tuck, 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 tuck. It's working better than the Iron Dome, because the Iron Dome's unable to stop stuff. The Iranian one is stopping stuff. So because I'm not in the government of Iran. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't sound very Iranian, but I can put a lovely Iranian accent on for you. And I've lived in London most of my life. But I promise you, I have absolute faith that they've got more stuff up the sleeve that we don't know anything about. And they're only going to pull it out when it's absolutely necessary to do that. And that kind of thing I'm talking about is, for instance, I truly believe that Iran has got surface to ship missile systems that will annihilate and remove American warships. But it's not something they advertise. They don't say anything. They just stay quiet. But when the time comes, they'll do what they got to do, because they're not going to be in a position. Because Iran understands it's on its own. There's no one that's going to come and save Iran. And Iran is literally the last wall, okay? It's the last wall against a very barbaric and savage world that we live in. That area is savage. The only person, the only player in the area is Iran that's stopping it. And if that wall goes down, that's it. There will be nothing left. The savagery of Israel will continue. They'll take Mecca, they'll take Karbala, they'll take everything, and everywhere will get taken by the Israelis and the Americans. And there'll be nothing and no one to say anything. It's the same situation as Libya. Muammar Gaddafi gave up X, Y, and Z, thinking he can trust the Americans. You can't trust the Americans for anything anymore. I certainly don't. I've learned a bitter lesson through other people's experiences. And I promise you that Iran's technology, and I'm glad I don't know because it's secret, is going to be a lot worse for the West and for the Israelis than has been shown now. And I can't wait for the newer, more technologically advanced equipment to start being used. And also the other thing is, Patrick, people are sitting there going about Iran's got 5,000 ballistic missiles. I'm like, what do you know? How do you know that? And Iranians don't know that. Where do you come up with this stuff? Iranians have turned around and said, we've got hundreds of thousands of missiles. I'm not saying they're all ballistic, but I promise you there's enough of them to annihilate most of your places of combat. Your battlefields, your aircraft carrier, your what's it called? Your bases, all your bases. They'll get destroyed, because when we're able to hit an Iron Dome in Tel Aviv, on top of it, you think we can't hit your fuel depot in your airports? You think we can't hit your command and control centers in your airports? If we can hit an Iron Dome with a one missile, hitting it directly, and that's not me making it up. That's a video from an Israeli idiot that was happy that the Iron Dome was taking shit out. And the next day, the Iron Dome was taken out by one missile, not 50. One. Boom. You think you're going to... No. Iran is doing just fine. It's not going to have any problems dealing with anything that's been thrown at it. And also, you've got to bear in mind, Israel has only been able to attack the eastern and central parts of Iran, the western parts. Our strategic missile systems can fire from the border of Afghanistan to hit a 3-meter square in Israel. You haven't got any airplanes that can go all the way over there. You've got to go through the dragnet of the air defense system that Iran has got to get to the eastern side. You can't win this war. Best thing to do is get on your knees and plead with the Palestinians that they'll accept a ceasefire with you. That's it. And you don't want to do that? We're going to pound you every single day and night till you understand this is going to be an unconditional surrender of Israel. You don't want to accept it? That's fine. We will bomb you till there's nothing left of you. Your military, your fuel tanks, your gas stations, all of them, your airports, your ports, all of them. And that is what Iran is going to do to them, unless they unconditionally surrender and come to the table with our Gazan brothers and sisters. And you stop murdering children. You stop killing the kids of Gaza. I'll be happy then. Until then, I don't want it to stop. I want the Palestinians to be extricated from this situation they're in. It's not fair. I don't want to live in an unjust world where barbarians and savages get to do what they want and nothing happens. It's not right, Patrick. It's not right.
And we've got Adam Clark. Ruckus has just joined us. on the panel. Apologies, Ruckus. My backstage screen was compressed, and you were pushed onto the second row, so I couldn't actually see you there. But you guys, here's a 1.5 ton warhead does in Tel Aviv. I'll just press this footage here. You can see so some serious damage in Tel Aviv. They've never seen this in Israel before. Ruckus, I don't know if you've had a chance to see, the fireworks in Tel Aviv, missile strikes. I mean, it's pretty incredible. It's not something you see very often. High-rise buildings dropping, and so forth. Your thoughts on the last 72 hours, Ruckus? I mean, how do you feel about what's happened?
Not a good look for Israel, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. As a true person who believes in peace, I like to see this on either side. However, to what Haz has been discussing here, I mean, you can only F around for so long before you find out, right? And to another quote, that's a bad quote, but I mean, desperate times do indeed call for desperate measures, and things have gotten well beyond the point of desperation for the people of Gaza. So I think I can stand behind a lot of what Haz is saying. And then I imagine some Americans who might not be familiar with the whole behind the scenes of everything that's going on in the history of this program, and Patrick and Hesher and myself and the guest Haz in particular might think, oh, well, this person is saying some pretty extreme, inflammatory, threatening things. No, his country has not been the one who's been threatening. It's been the Western nations. It's been Israel. It's been America, and it's a cold hard fact. It's sad to admit and to realize as an American, but and I appreciate the compliment he made about my good friend and colleague Hesher, who I agree with 100% on a lot of things, as well as I agree with Patrick. My problem with this whole concept with the Iran thing is I'm less concerned about what Iran is going to do, because Iran's going to do what it needs to do as a country out there in particular. We'll see what happens if we decide to get crazy here against them. It's only fair that they're going to, what are they going to do? Put their hands behind their back and say, okay, you can keep beating us up. No, they're going to have to react. But I'm less concerned about them reacting and doing anything here on our home soil than I am about the false flag thing, because we clearly see the that's what they're going to do. Obviously, whether or not it's truly to manufacture consent for whatever the next big stage is going to happen out there, I don't think it's necessary. I think the Israel lobby has got that covered. I think it's going to be used to manufacture consent for further damaging things to us here, making us the bad guys yet again. It's going to be used to ramp up their control measures in the name of safety and security, right alongside all of this, immigration stuff. So, more technocracy out of this in the middle of war. Ultimately, I wonder what's Palantir's role going to play, because as you're discussing the technology, they're not stupid. The American military they're not like, oh, we had no idea that they could do that. Of course, they know that you can do that. And maybe we have some contingency plans in place. Who knows? But I think a lot of our current systems are about to fail on purpose, intentionally, so that the new ones can roll up as the solution. And I think one of the big winners are going to be the drones and all of these things that they've been testing at the Starlinks, all of these big tech brothers who have positioned themselves nice and tight with the current administration are going to be the next big players in this. And I don't know what that means for Iran, Haz, but I think that we are sitting on some really scary technological things that nobody wants this Pandora's box opened. And I think this is going to be an excuse to do it. The other thing I'm concerned about ultimately, and I'll say this and pass it on, is because there is a lot of animosity being realized towards Israel, rightly so, I will say, but it's something we haven't seen until just recently. And there might be some successful actions taken against that country if we do see what's perceived as some sort of tamping down the pegs, knocking the legs out from under Israel, some sort of downfall, as it were. What would that do? Is that going to embolden some of the more actual organic extreme groups of people and factions out there all over the world to do even more stuff? I don't know. So it's very tense times right now for all of us. Yeah,
I mean, does anybody want to weigh on that? I'm not worried about the You could say, oh my gosh, this is going to cause a wave of, neo-Nazi anti-Semitism and whatnot. I think we're past that. We're really into biblical revelations right now. That's kind of like where things are at. And this is I think the profound thing that we're witnessing right now in history. It is on that sort of biblical level in terms of a revelation, and it's humanity really approaching, or certain people within the human community are showing the absolute extreme worst possible behavior, the worst possible qualities. How do we come together to deal with this? What's the solution? Or is the solution going to be, it's going to be another fight to the death? And if so, are we all going to basically get thrown into that? Quite possibly, it could happen. But there's lessons to be learned here for the human race, for the human experience. And these are old lessons, actually. They're not necessarily new lessons. And I don't want to believe in self-fulfilling prophecies. Trust me, I'm the last person who'd be, kind of throwing that out and kind of preaching and so forth. But it's eerie. It is eerie when you think about it. This is a biblical level event, not because of the technology and the missiles, and no, not that, but because of what the human race, or certain people or leaders, or people, and the suffering that's happening. The least of us in terms of wealth, power, influence are being bludgeoned by the most powerful and the most wealthy. It is so perverted, it's just beyond. But it has happened before, I'm sure, in history. So, that's where we're at. And all these, I'm very critical of Christians, especially in America, okay? Especially self-proclaimed Christian conservatives that pray for Israel. Everyone's like, Israel starts a war with Iran, and all the congressmen are all tweeting out the same thing: pray for Israel. I mean, it's a joke at this point. The whole thing is it's a pantomime, basically. They're LARPing as Christians. I can see. You think Jesus is going to be there, calling for a preemptive nuclear strike? I mean, honestly, guys, seriously, why do you bother going to church every Sunday? Just for show? To show that you're a good citizen? Or do you really actually believe? Or, are you actually engaged with the teachings in the Holy Book or not? These are like pretty profound questions right now. And my criticism goes to the Catholic Church too, because they have a lot to answer for in what they haven't said and haven't done in the last 20 months. Pope Francis and the new Pope have made statements that, this violence needs to stop and how horrific the situation is in Gaza. But I could go to church every week, and during intercessions, they won't even say the word Palestine. Even though the Vatican recognizes the Palestinian state. It's just totally bonkers. So anyway, yeah, go ahead, Hus.
I just want to jump in and say that I don't want to see the situation with Israel last forever. And I promise you, the humiliation that they've suffered already in seeing their city basically annihilated, that's going to have a long-lasting impact on the psyche of Israelis. And that damage can't be taken away from them. I'm happy, and when you turn around and said, like, do you think that players in this area, the Iranian people are not made up like that. We're not looking to increase to do extra things. We're just going to do what we got to do to make it a lesson in deterrence for them, to understand that when we say we will do what we got to do, we're doing just that. We don't want to take it to another level. The only level we've taken it to is you've hit our, what's it called? We didn't hit any of your strategic oil refineries or anything like that, but you hit them yesterday. So we hit yours today. It's the same as Hezbollah did with Israel. You kill one of ours, we'll kill one of yours. You kill a soldier, we're going to kill you a soldier. You kill civilians, we're going to kill you civilians. It's the same thing. It's reciprocity. We're not looking to murder Israelis. The whole point of this project is to turn around and say, you've attacked Iran, you've attacked the Iranian homeland. What you need to understand is There are consequences. And the consequences are 5 million people are going to be going into shelters. That's the consequences. And we're going to destroy whatever we like in your country. And there is nothing that you can do about it. That's the lesson. You need to learn from it. And you have to accept the fact that you're not the supreme power of the universe. You don't have some alien laser ray that allows you to defend yourself against everything that's going to come towards you. You're not the chosen people of technology that can do that. When you do, then you can control the world. But till then, while we're able to hurt you, and we are hurting you, accept the fact that you're not going to be allowed to do whatever you want with us as Iranians hanging around. We are going to be the shield of the Palestinians. We are the shield of the Lebanese. We are the shield of the Yemeni. We are the shield of the axis of resistance, not of confrontation, not of murder. We didn't start this. You started this. You need to understand there are consequences for actions. Don't do it. Don't kill people in Gaza. It's really simple. Just stop killing people in Gaza. I swear to God, I will happily go over and fucking shake hands. Sorry, I keep swearing, Patrick. I'm so sorry. I will go and shake hands with any.
We've just
Israeli
lost our family rating for the ratings agency.
I'm so sorry.
Putting us up to adult now. Yep, go ahead.
I'm just saying I am happy to have a relationship with Israeli people, but they need to stop killing people. Just stop murdering children. That's what kills me more than anything else. You know, I joined the Workers' Party and I went into politics because before then I was a construction manager because of what they did to Gaza.
Yep.
I was not a politician. I've never been a politician in my life. I joined the party after they attacked Gaza, and no one did a damn thing in my country. No one in England did anything. And all they did was they gave them permission to do it. That's why I went to politics. You know?
And they accused anybody who was trying to stop it of being a, quote, anti-Semite. I mean, it's just obscene, really obscene. Yeah, and Haz, your trajectory is, you've spoken about that before. You really became active after October 7th, politically active, and I'm sure you could be doing other things with your life, like many people, including us. Many of us became active after the Iraq War, realizing that the media had such a stranglehold over people's minds that something needed to be done, and that's how this wave of the independent media was born on the back of the Iraq War, largely, and 9/11 to a degree, but more on a delayed fashion. But then Syria came, and so obviously we've been practicing for these crazy events one after the other, and it's allowed us to be able to read propaganda extremely efficiently. But here's the footage, and you're talking about those images, Haz. Well, here's one of them from Tel Aviv. I mean, this is you can't underestimate. There's other ones. I couldn't find the exact one I was looking for, but so the whole sales pitch for Israel is come to Israel. It's safe. It's the only place in the world that's safe for Jews, and do your aliyah here, and it's paradise on the Med, and we'll get you a kibbutz, some settlements we're building out there, free land. And we'll have the IDF protect you. Don't worry about the Palestinians; they're not really there. There's over the wall. There's some, goat herders and whatnot. Don't worry, we're dealing with them. They'll be gone soon. Don't worry. Come to Israel. Come to Israel. That's the sales pitch. Doesn't look so safe right now, Haz. No, doesn't look very safe.
It really doesn't, and I'm happy to say that. I hope this draws to an end within 10 days, because I think 10 days of punishment is enough for Israel. And I hope that within that period of time, they make peace with their regional neighbors. That's it. Just make peace. And by peace, I mean long-lasting peace, same as you have with Egypt, same as you do with Jordan. And that's it. And if you can do that, then I'm more than happy to back that deal. I'm more than happy as a British politician to put my stamp of, obviously George Galloway is my party leader and he decides whatever happens, but I'll be happy to push that narrative through our party. But they need to stop killing people everywhere. That's it. It's not hard. It's not a hard thing for them to do. And we're not even asking them to do anything other than stop killing people. That's it. Stop.
Yeah. It shouldn't be a lot to ask.
No, it isn't.
It really shouldn't. But to think, for this regime in Israel, and also, quite frankly, the people backing them, to think that they're going to go forward in the 21st century as if none of this happened. So they've really backed themselves into a corner where they just have to double down. They're talking now in Israel like they need to wipe out, half the planet, needs to accept that they're going to, if anybody stands in the way of them killing more people, then they're going to annihilate them as well.
Yeah.
It's totally insane, the rhetoric that we're seeing right now. And I think there's a mass psychosis in their culture and society. And it's just saying, again, it is biblical in scale, in its profoundness. And scenes from Tel Aviv, the emerald of the Mediterranean there, the sort of ideal modern city in the Jewish state of Israel. And what's funny is the Palestinian, or Arab Israelis as they call them, living within the confines of Israel, they weren't allowed in some of the shelters. So if you want to talk about apartheid, shelters, Jews only. You can't make this stuff up. But now you can see it. See, this has all brought all these things to the surface.
Yep.
And no more hiding behind masks and pretense and propaganda facades. It's very clear now what's happening. And so I think the world is going to judge this as a war of aggression, started by Israel, started by Trump. So I'll go to Ruckus and Hesher just to get the American perspective on this. So effectively, Trump, despite his denials, he's all in with Israel on this. And this idea that Iran is the aggressor, they've kind of blown that out of the water themselves. They've lost that card. So what's left? And that's what makes me scared. Hesher, you can go, or Ruckus, either one of you, but I want to get your thoughts. That frightens me because America's always gone out of their way, either engineering false flags, putting out lies and propaganda just to make it look like they were kind of morally halfway in the right. That's not even in the picture here. Israel just went for Iran during peace negotiations. So what good can possibly come out of this? It scares me. Go ahead, either of you.
Well, Trump even basically threatened to get involved in one of those truth posts you showed earlier in the program there. It's like, come make a deal, or we will unleash, I'm paraphrasing, we will unleash our most badass military on the planet. They give you that whole thing. And he's really kind of, I believe, if he doesn't do what I suggested earlier, which is break contact, disengage, stop supporting this, condemn it, tell them they're on their own. But what he really looks like he's doing is he's kind of a bit of predictive programming here, a little bit of, hey, we should all make a deal. Let's have peace. But if you mess with us, it's going to get ugly. And, then we get to the big question of, as the meme industrial complex posted here, is the clock ticking? Are we about to play Who Wants to Do a False Flag? For those just listening, I got a graphic of BB here. And to drag the U.S. into war with Iran, you will A, attack a U.S. ship, B, attack a U.S. base, C, assassinate a U.S. official, or D, conduct quote-unquote terrorism on U.S. soil. So that's where the internet's at right now. Is the clock ticking? Is this what we're waiting for? Is this how you get the consent?
Can you bring that pop quiz back up on screen for a moment?
Patrick, my brother, I've got to go. I'm really sorry, but I've got my son downstairs, and he's been waiting an hour to see me. Forgive me. Gents, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure meeting all of you. Patrick, please keep doing what you're doing. Hesh, I watch you guys on a regular basis. I normally stop at 7 o'clock and I go and watch George, but I am an avid fan of all of your stuff. You may see me posting stuff on your live chat as well. But I need to go and meet my son. I haven't seen him in about 6 weeks now, and he's been waiting an hour. And I wish you the best of luck, guys. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Haz.
much.
Happy
Take
Father's
care.
Day.
Appreciate you. Take care, Haz.
Exactly. It is Father's Day, and he's come to see me. Okay.
All right,
Bless you.
excellent.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Haz. Amazing.
Hesher, I was looking for that same graphic, and then you pulled it up. You beat me to it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Good one.
So we're going to move on a little bit on the discussion, guys, and I'm glad you're here because I want to get in. So a lot of people are flacking for a false flag in America. Oh, let's bring this pop quiz back up on screen here. I just wanted to. So A, attack a U.S. ship, and B is what's B? It's
Attack a U.S. base.
Or no, assassinate a U.S. official.
Yeah, that'll be C.
Okay. Oh, B is attack a U.S. base. C, assassinate a U.S. official. D, conduct, quote, terrorism on U.S. soil. My best bet there, I think the easiest would be, there are so many ships parked off the coast of Israel there, they could maybe fire a stinger at one of them and then blame it on Hezbollah. Maybe that would be an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go for A. But
I'm
what do
a
you guys
solid
think?
D.
Are you
Solid
D? You're a
Yeah.
solid D. I mean, yeah, you guys would know because you know that you know the vibe of what's going on there right now.
And I have an addendum to that comment too. I was just thinking about it earlier today. I was like, normally when we hear about this concept or this idea and we picture in our head, oh, they're going to do something, some big event like the 9/11 thing, we always think like that type of city like New York, or we think of like someplace in California, some well-known on either of the coasts kind of. I think, and I hate to say this, but I think if they really truly want to actually manufacture consent, they're going to have to hit the heart of America, and it might be Texas, because they really got to do something to really get that conservative MAGA. You don't mess with Texas is what I'm thinking. I'm like, who's the last person they want to mess with in order to really make sure everybody's on board? And I don't know. I just have the weird feeling it's going to be more of a conservative heartland America kind of target and not the traditional thing. Just a prediction I have.
We're going to put some meat on the bones of Ruckus's pick in a moment. But Hesher, where are you? A, B, C, or D?
I mean, do we have to just pick one? Because I kind of feel like B and D are going to go hand in hand together to be just the combination that we need.
Okay.
If you want to take a real black pill, then you just go for C. You just go for C and assassinate a U.S. official, and you make it the highest one you could think of, and then think about who takes over that highest position. And you could kind of see where that might go. So I don't even want to pick C. I don't want to be responsible for bringing that into reality or having any sort of hand in that. So I'm gonna go with attack a U.S. base for B, and D, conduct quote unquote terrorism on U.S. soil. I think it's going to take probably both of those to really push the ship out.
Right. So not a pipe bomb in the dumpster behind Joe Biden's favorite ice cream shop in Wilmington, Delaware. Right.
Right.
No.
Something a little more substantial.
Okay, I gotcha. So that we'll rule that one out. They tried that in New Jersey a couple of years ago. You remember that?
I know they're gonna take out Fox News studio. There you go.
Oh, that would be an audacious and bold move there. So we'll bring this up on screen. This is more kind of along the lines of what Ruckus is talking about here. So this is Laura Logan, and Going Rogue is her podcast. I mean, everyone's got a damn podcast. So she's a Fox News reject who claims she's an investigative journalist. She is one of the biggest propagandists, neocon propagandists that there ever was. Okay. The stuff these people put out is unbelievable. And they're talking about, when is this terrorist attack going to occur? Now, this was broadcast probably about a week and a half ago. Okay, it's doing the rounds. And listen to what they say, and bear this in mind, what Ruckus just said about the possibility of how to drag America into a war with Iran. Okay, we're not messing around. Why are these CIA podcasts pushing these talking points? Listen.
So where are the hotspots across America right now? Because one of them is Dallas, Plano, Texas.
Texas in general.
Texas in general? Wow.
I assess that, and my team assesses Houston as the single worst city in America for the joint Islamic communist movement is Houston.
I have to pause there, guys, because that's a new one. The joint Islamic communist movement. This is
what?
Is this a new thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw this clip, I was like, wait, I paused at the exact same moment. I was sitting there with Spore, we were watching it, and we paused at the exact same moment. And we just looked at each other and said, what? The what? The who? The what? And what a great acronym, too. This acronym will inspire just all kinds of negative emotions in the MAGA base. You gotta hand it to them for their new acronym, although we don't need any new acronyms at this point. It's clearly a propaganda term that has been pulled out of someone's you-know-what in Langley, or maybe by one of their influencers that they hire out, or perhaps the influenceable PR company that they use, or whatever In-Q-Tel has sponsored, spawned, and created themselves for this kind of brainchild. But what a joke is, can you believe that? Can you break this term down for us, Patrick? Does it have any sort of meaning? Is it an oxymoron? Like, what are they trying to do here other than piss people off that don't like Islam and don't like communists?
I think moron is the operative word there, if you want to break that one up. Yeah. So they're playing on this. They're pulling the communist thing off the shelf because it's there, can always reach for it, and then the Islamist thing, and then put those two together. And this is like kind of, we're in Newsmax sort of territory here. Obviously, this is a little bit lower brow than Fox, if you can believe that's possible. We'll continue.
But other really bad areas, especially for the jihad, but also the communist support, the Dearborn, Michigan area,
Michigan,
Twin Cities, Minnesota.
Dearborn, Michigan. Isn't this the place where Trump got all those votes from the Muslim community? I mean,
Yes.
What planet are we on? The same planet, this guy and Laura and us?
Weirdly enough, this has been an ongoing, contentious, hot button issue, i.e. a narrative that's been growing for quite a while now about, like, people are, I'm concerned about all these Islamic folks in my neighborhood. And one of the well-known places, of course, is Dearborn, Michigan. They're, like, you see the videos, it's like they go through all the shopping malls and everybody, there's no white people there. It's crazy. So I think they've been setting the stage because, I think we've even vocalized this in the recent past, that they're going to use this to their advantage one day. And, lo and behold, here we are, because it's going to be one of the most obvious, simplest things to do. Anybody could fart over there and they're like, look what they did. We're going to war. It's so easy.
Yeah. Look at all the kebab shops. Look, I can see Laura Loomer with a video camera. Look at all.
Would we do what we did to the poor Japanese Americans during World War II? I wonder.
Yes, that of course is a gene that often gets activated in America. Unfortunately, it's still there. It's still there. Just like the European Nazi gene is still alive and well. We'll continue.
New York City, parts of LA.
Paterson, New Jersey.
Yeah, so that area around Paterson.
That's random.
Wait, let's just do the whole map, guys. What do you think? We got Texas, we got Minnesota, Michigan, New York, Jersey. What do you think? Should we do New England? Let's see what he says.
It's pretty bad in the triangle area of like Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
Carolinas.
Nashville.
Carolinas. It's pretty bad down there. There's a lot of jihad going on down in Raleigh. Who is this clown, by the way? Does anybody know who this guy is? Is he a counterterrorism expert? Is this like the Jack Bauer, retired?
He just threw Tennessee in there too. I mean,
did he throw Tennessee in?
Yeah. Right when you paused, he was throwing Tennessee.
Well,
down.
Jay Dyer lives in Tennessee, and he's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Jay Dyer lives in Tennessee. He's pretty damn dangerous.
Jay Dyer,
to some.
Odd Man Out, Mystical Pharaoh. We got a bunch of people there.
Exactly. Yeah. Got Ben Shapiro supposedly has a house in Nashville as well. Candace Owens is in Nashville. She's dangerous.
She's right next to Theo Vaughn, isn't she?
Could be. Yeah.
And Ian Carroll.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of mullets in in Nashville. Yeah, let's not digress. Let's listen to what this. Let's listen to what Agent Bauer has to say.
Charlotte. Did I say Tampa?
No.
But even like.
Is he going on all the NFL franchises? I mean, I'm trying to follow. Right? I don't know. Because Dearborn's Detroit, right? It's kind of Detroit, so he's just okay. Yeah. All right.
Kansas City, Kansas.
Wow, that's where my family's from. So it's through the Midwest. The flyover states, who would have known there's so much jihad going on in Kansas City? I really don't think so. It's one of the whitest places on earth. Trust me. But anyway, here we go.
Wichita's pretty bad.
Wichita. Who knew? Isn't that where the Koch brothers are from?
I think so.
It's pretty damn conservative in Wichita, folks. Pretty damn even the blacks are conservative in Wichita. Okay.
But this can't even be a real video. This has to be a sketch on SNL or something. You're pulling our leg.
Too. I thought so too, Ruckus. But no, this is Going Rogue with Laura Logan. She is a top journalist, or she was one at some point a long time ago. She was a journalist. Now she is doing propaganda. So here we are.
Or excuse me, Plainfield, Indiana is the home to ISNA. So they have a base there.
There's a terrorist base in Indiana. Who knew? But what? French Lick, Indiana, home of Larry Bird.
Never heard of them.
These are all redneck areas. Who knew?
I don't know what's going on.
Chicago, I think I mentioned them earlier. Horrible. And I don't just mean Chicago. I mean pretty much draw a 35-mile radius around there. And the jihadi community is very thick and growing, and they are raising a ton of money internally, ton of money to expand what they're doing there.
Does Chicago have a gun crime problem?
Yeah.
It's kind of a weekly thing. Is it a weekly thing? It's a weekly
Depends on
thing.
who you ask.
Yeah.
It's every weekend, right? It's every weekend.
Yeah,
fail.
Weekdays too, but they're not as heavy as the weekends, you know.
Yeah, and more people die. Tell me if I'm wrong. More people die from gun crime in Chicago than have died in a I don't know. Than in one year than every terrorist attack, bar 9/11 if you want to count that as a official terrorist attack. But so like, what are we talking about here? Honestly, this is just so. Here we go. It gets better, guys. You thought you saw the best of it? No. It gets much better. Laura Logan's going to show her stuff now. Watch.
What's a ton of money?
Like in a weekend, it's not unusual for them to raise several $1 million just to expand one thing they're working on.
Where's the money coming from?
From the Muslim community, the U.S. Muslim community. Because you got, these people are, engineers, doctors. I mean, they have money.
So they're building an Islamic army in America under our noses in Wichita and the 20 other cities that he mentioned. Okay.
They have a really smart way of doing it by like spending a lot of time and money to become doctors first and engineers.
They're crafty like that, Ruckus. You see, we're dealing with this is special sort of jihad, where they're all physicists, doctors, and brain surgeons, and they work hard. They go to medical school and they spend 15 years to get to the top of their profession, so that they can afford, according to this expert, to afford to finance terrorist cells, and they're pumping in millions of dollars every week, according to this gentleman here.
Cells that would do what? Destroy the country that they've just spent 15 years getting rich in? Okay, all right. We'll try to make sense of that.
Yeah, and yes, we have read Trevor Aronson's book, The Terror Factory. Said that 90% of all so-called terror busts by the FBI during the War on Terror era were all cooked up with FBI informants and handlers, paid, almost all of them. all the high-profile busts. So I guess if we got rid of the FBI, we'd probably get rid of the terrorism problem as well. But they continue. Nice wide shot of the studio as well. We like the decor. It's very nice, very trendy.
And USAID.
Well, yeah.
USA.
I mean, now that's just, again, another piece of it that we know.
So USAID is funding it all. But don't worry, Elon's on the... Oh, no, he's not. He's not there anymore. So it could be...
But I'll also say they're getting grants from the U.S. government. I mean, I remember...
So the U.S. government's paying for this through the grant program. Okay.
One grant, John, when I was in touch with some people in John Kelly's office when he was working for Mr. Trump and DHS.
Another traitor. He
stopped one grant to the Muslim Public Affairs Council, which is a Muslim Brotherhood group, for over $500,000. Just that's one grant. I mean, that's a major Muslim Brotherhood entity. That's a major propaganda arm for them. But Phoenix is a huge hub for not only Brotherhood, for Al-Qaeda, and has been. That's been since the 80s.
So Phoenix has been a hub for Al-Qaeda since the 80s.
Well,
okay. Sure.
How's that surveillance grid working out for everybody then? What?
So Al-Qaeda didn't really materialize as a sort of brand internationally really until probably late 90s, and didn't really kind of post 9/11, this sort of conversation. So we're talking, but he's saying, no, it was back in the 80s. So it existed in Phoenix before it existed in Afghanistan. Totally credible expert here. Let's carry on.
My goodness, you could go around Denver.
But you're not just talking about Muslim populations.
No, I'm talking about the jihadi networks in those areas. San Diego's pretty significant. Seattle, Portland. Not much. There's a network in South Dakota, but it's pretty small because they have very low. I've done some work up there. They have a very low tolerance for any of that. South Dakota may be the best state in the country.
Wow, so Kristi Noem has allowed a Al-Qaeda network to fester in South Dakota. That's pretty hard going up there. I mean, so like, first of all, guys, the CIA has been running the Muslim Brotherhood for, maybe the last 40 years. So, I mean, does that factor into the analysis at all? Or like, who is this clown? These people are a dime a dozen. These blowhards, they'll get guest spots on AM talk radio. You'll see them on Newsmax, and they've all got a book out. They've all got a book, and they're all pining for a job with the Trump administration because they know that Trump hires off the podcast circuit and Fox News. That's what's going on here. You guys know what I'm talking about because you've had experience with this as well.
A lot of experience.
You've had to field all these guys, half of them.
Yeah.
Have been trafficked.
This guy, there's something really off about this one, Patrick. This one guy. I understand what you're saying, but I mean, this guy stands out to me. It's almost like he's literally faking it. And I was like, but what's the motive for somebody like that? But you just said it. There are some people, they get a kick out of it. That's what he does. He goes around and goes, "Oh, I'm important," and I go around and I'm an expert. Who is this guy? I really want to learn more about. Is this guy even real? I mean, it's almost as if the podcast lady had another guest lined up and something happened. So they dragged this guy off the streets who was just coming down off his medications. They handed him a script real quick. There's just something not right about anything that this person is saying and his behavior. It's weird to me.
Yeah, it is. It's the Jihadi Rodeo Network in South Dakota is the one that really piqued my interest.
Poised, I would argue it's probably number one on my list for poised to kind of keep the whole communist Islamic movement out. And they're trying to get in there. Montana and Wyoming are probably 2 and 3, but they have their problems.
Montana and Wyoming. Have we left anything out? Any other major cities in the country?
I mean, we've covered the whole country at this point, right? But we started, back to Ruckus's original point, it all started right here in Texas, and this is just one example. We've got several videos that we've cataloged all before this stuff popped off for the most part with Israel and Iran. But we've got Sarah Adams on multiple podcasts.
I've got one of those for you in a moment.
All right, cool.
It's a short clip. It's a short clip, but you have to hear
This is
it.
like, he's not the only one out there pumping this. This is at a Spinal Tap level 11, like throughout the CIA podcast circuit.
Yeah. Let's we're going to try to get to the finish line with this guy. It's very hard. But here.
Montana and the state legislature, they've got some issues.
Well, it's in the.
But those would be the best. When people ask me what are the best states right now, those are probably the best for kind of defending liberty. Now,
So Montana and Wyoming have got the jihad terror networks under control. The communist Islamic movements, they've got it. They've got that under control.
And defending liberty seems to only be about trying to tamp down the communist Islamic movement brotherhood factor in your state. That seems to be his definition of protecting liberty. Nothing to do with, he doesn't want to talk about any of the surveillance or where this all leads or the target it puts on everybody's back or any potential or context. None of that. Just those are the states where liberty is safest because of this new acronym that we've made up.
Yeah, ATF gun grabbing and slow creep legislation, all the rest of it.
I think he's pretty much more than implying that it's because they're racist towards Islamic folks. We don't stand for that in our town.
Right?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a moment. We've got a choice case study there. But
Florida is doing a lot of good proactive work, but they have a very significant jihadi network. And it's not just in one place. I mean, Tampa's a pretty strong Hamas hub, but really around the whole
Tampa's a strong Hamas hub. I think Hamas is slightly penned in that Gaza Strip. I mean,
those tunnels go far, Patrick. You have no idea.
The tunnels. Ah, yes. The terror tunnels, right? They've been digging under the Atlantic. There is actually a good straight under the Mediterranean and then under the Atlantic right to Tampa, and it pops up. The tunnels pop up at Tampa. Now, there is a Muslim community in Tampa, sizable, okay, like there are in many parts of the United States. And there is in Phoenix. I mean, I live outside of Phoenix, and there's plenty of mosques there and whatnot, but it's not anything that you really notice. They're there, but it's like, I mean, I don't know much about the Greek Orthodox community in Phoenix, but they have a substantial presence there. But I just don't, unless I go into their neighborhood and to their restaurants and stores and shops and whatnot, or meet anybody. And the same's true with a lot of places around the U.S. Pick a group, but apparently there's a terror network. There are more, according to this guy, according to Jack Bauer, there's more terrorist organizations in America than there are in the rest of the world combined. Apparently, I didn't realize America was that well colonized with jihadi networks. Or is this guy just making stuff up?
They've got a lot of issues. Atlanta is very bad. I mean, Atlanta, you can go back to the 80s when Al-Qaeda was doing recruiting in Atlanta.
Wait a minute. That's an interesting point he brings up. Who founded Al-Qaeda in the 80s? Wait a minute. It was a government, a Western government, right? Was it the American government? Was it the CIA? They did recruit. The United States government recruited. Yes, that's right. Yeah. He's leaving that. That's a very important detail, isn't it? But they often leave that part out. So you just strip the whole context, the important bit out, and then you've got yourself a dumbed down sort of cable news level narrative for people with, let's just say, intellectually challenged. That's who he's talking to. Now, you mentioned Sarah Adams is a star guest on the CIA podcast circuit. And so I think the host here is Wheeler. Is that her name?
Yeah, Liz Wheeler.
Liz Witt. Oh, she was one of those special invitees to get the Epstein files, that
That's
beautiful
right.
binder that had nothing in it with Mike Cernovich, and she was in that group. So she must be an influencer, right?
It was a big, beautiful binder, though, right?
Yeah. So she's a big influencer. She's influential. Journalism, not sure about that. Listen.
Do we have any idea what's coming?
Yeah, well, there's two different phases. So if you talk about kind of the attacks in your hometowns that ISIS trained for, they're a little bit more of that October 7th feel. That's where you live, work, and play. Now, the big Al-Qaeda 9/11 plot is there's twofold. There's one piece that's actually not Al-Qaeda's plot. It's the IRGC plot against Donald Trump. So his assassination is a piece of the plot. And then the rest of the plot is Al-Qaeda's 9/11 plot. And basically that's actually an assault, mostly on Washington, D.C. And then it's assault on the aviation industry. And they're going to drop airliners with suicide vests.
Are they still trying to do that?
Yeah, they've even moved the suicide vest over the U.S. border already. They got into the country with nobody in the U.S. government has found one of these vests yet.
What? Whoa, let's back up there for a second. How did that happen? And are we vulnerable to this attack? Do we have protocols at our airports to prevent these from, if they're in the country already, how did they even get into the country?
We know one shipment of them came over Nogales. We think it was a Sinaloa cartel, probably through a tunnel. The unfortunate thing is there's been no increase in airport security because TSA's Intel division has decided the vests aren't real and they're not being proactive against them. So there has been no change in security posture at our airports.
And do you have intelligence right now, basically watching the progression of this plot? Will you know when it begins the next phase?
So they already trained everybody and they already deployed everyone. So the next phase would be things like casing, right, or dry runs, and then operation. So unless law enforcement's really paying attention or the public's noticing things, doing the see something, say something, and reporting them, we did have some of those 9/11 hijackers reported prior to 9/11 doing, things on airplanes. If we can get the public more involved, we can see some of those things.
Who uncovered the suicide vest plot to begin with?
So, it was a mix of people. The thing is we kept hearing about them, but Al-Qaeda made a strategic error. And in early November, they took these vests and showed them off in a few terrorist camps in Afghanistan. And that's when it became real because, okay, these vests are real. They're showing them off. They're saying the terrorists that they're for, the U.S. plot. And so when that happened, that's then.
The level of bullshit here is off. So let's just get this straight, guys. She says there's a shipment of terror vests, big, bad, evil terror vests that have come into America, and she knows all about them, but they haven't actually found any of them. Did I miss anything there? I didn't miss anything there.
Well, you left out the part where they know all the phases of the attack. They know where these things came. Like, what is she even talking about?
Sinaloa cartel and through the tunnels at the border, and but we haven't tracked, and we don't have any of the vests to show you because we haven't found them yet. But we are sure that they're in America, and Americans need to be scared about that. This is like really kind of low level sort of gutter propaganda that this person is this frumpy CIA supposed expert that was promoted by Sean Ryan. That's how she became known. She was, boosted by the Sean Ryan Show, which is another kind of dubious podcast. It's very much inside intel, ex-Navy SEAL, OPSEC, Sean Ryan. And then he has her on. She's been doing the same shtick. It's almost like that's her shtick, is get people sort of conditioned to expect some kind of Al-Qaeda attack on U.S. soil. Back to the pop quiz of Netanyahu. Was that D or C? I can't remember. I think D.
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 Why the vest? As the marketing guy, I'm recognizing the same amount of level of propaganda with the jabby things that they rolled forward with before it was a severe enough issue. They were getting ahead of that beforehand. Same kind of thing here. Why are we laying the narrative? Why specifically a vest? I mean, if you're going to do a false flag, you could set off a small explosion, do anything, and then you then report to the public, oh, it was XYZ group that did it, and we know based on our intelligence. With a suicide vest attack, it's a visual thing. And presuming, considering the world that we live in, where there are security cameras everywhere, I'm just taking a wild guess here that after a suicide vest attack, we're going to get to see the footage of the crazy, insane, obviously jihadi with the vest on, and then the explosion. Where, I'm sorry, but we live in a world where that can be easily faked with a prompt on ChatGPT. So I think there might be something to this. Why are we focusing on the vest? Because then it's going to be much easier to paint a vivid picture in people's heads of who or what is responsible. Just a theory.
There's a lot of these so-called influencers that are pushing this. Here's one of them, Charlie Kirk. And I don't really know what to say about this guy. But anyway, he said, Charlie Kirk just a couple of days ago says, keep your head on a swivel. Biden let millions of people into America over the border. Iran might have activated some sleeper cells against America. Stay armed, says Charlie Kirk at Charlie Kirk 11. So he is the head of Turning Point USA, and he posts some really, I mean, these are the types of things he's been saying is that Islam is not compatible with America. And he's basically saying, we need to put a moratorium on all immigration, legal and illegal. I mean, he's putting out these type of talking points that get a lot of clicks. Obviously, it's red meat to the base, but keep your head on a swivel, guys. That I like. That is just so vigilant on the part of Charlie Kirk. And, the people aren't stupid. If you look in the comments, this guy gets ratioed all the time when he does these polls. He's trying to get buy-in on some crazy thing and ends up getting crushed on his own polls. Johnny United says what he really means is more false flags are pending. You see, people are not buying this. And Luke Radowski's in there. Yeah, thanks, Trump. He's talking about Charlie Kirk here. This is Joey the Demon basically saying, translation, Israel has Mossad agents about to conduct false flag events in America and blame it on Iran. You see this? You see this, folks? People are getting it. People are getting it. Let's bring in our commenteers as well and see what is being said in the peanut gallery here. The billionaires are scared, says Kurt Boss. And what else we've got here? They practiced with that SEALs dude at the Tesla truck. Yeah, you remember the Tesla truck, guys. What was that all about? Very dubious event, I think. Is he really dead? What exactly happened there? Were they laundering a body through a high-profile media stunt? Like, what was that all about?
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, I could see why one might think it was a practice run for something, because it did feel very dog and pony show-esque.
Yep, here we are. Hustle Bones says, yo, that Muslim wearing a suicide vest. Oh, that's not a Muslim, that's a Sikh. Yes, the head turban. The Americans often get them confused, the Sikhs and the Muslims. Charlie Kirk is clearly captured. Yeah, I think it's even worse than that. Yes, there's all people saying all sorts of stuff here. Racists acting like political experts. There's quite a lot of that going around these days, sadly. Unfortunately, they've been given license to be stupid. And what else have we got here? Informants and operatives have a smell. Indeed, they do. Indeed, they do. We see them a lot, especially in the patriot community. There's no shortage of them there. And
smells like old Navy khakis and Navy polos, right?
Yeah, you remember that? What was that group? Yeah, that one was funny, wasn't it? What were they called? They all had the
The
khakis.
Patriot Front.
Patriot Front. Yeah, they shut down. I believe they disbanded when Trump was
They're
elected.
back.
Oh, they're back.
were-
Okay,
Yeah, I
great, good.
saw them doing something the other day. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful! I'm so
Oh,
glad to have them back.
yeah.
Yes, there is a stench. I think it's a cryptic stench of some sort.
Yeah,
Smells like the fuel from tiki torches. That's what it is.
Walmart, Costco, you know.
yep. Tiki torches. Yeah, they removed those from Walmart for a while. Maybe they're back again. Here we go. Yeah, it's all about this new AI based surveillance. This is what's going on. This is big business, quantum surveillance. Unfortunately, these people have nothing better to do than to create markets for their freaking products. Unfortunately, and we are the basically fuel for that. Our data, our existence is the fuel for these people. You see.
Remember back in the day, guys, when they used to make products to solve an existing problem and not create problems to fit existing products? That was fun.
Those are the good old days. Now, you know, it's like we're seeing more of this, like, oh, deploy Palantir mass. We need Palantir to get in there. What are you talking about? Like, if Palantir is so awesome, then how come they didn't use Palantir to find all these people Sarah Adams is talking about? Someone riddle me that, because that thing should be able to do that.
I saw those vests at Costco last week. You see, we've done the research, Sarah. We have found the vests, and it wasn't hard. We just threw it out there.
You can get a better deal
audience.
on Timo though if you order them online.
Yeah, on Temu. Temu, is it Temu? Yeah, Temu, the Chinese website. Yeah, the much better vests. You see that? We found the vests. All your CIA, all your DHS, we found it in 5 minutes. We just threw it out there to our listener base. All right. So here we go. Yes. Shelly _NW. These MAGA chicks are high-strung with serious image drivers. You bet. You bet. And with a PFP like that, so are you, Shelly. You're gonna drive some influence as well. Very good.
Whitebird in the Discord chat said that Liz reminded him of the blonde alien chick from Mars Attacks. I thought that was pretty good.
She does actually. Yeah. No, the Mars Attacks one, a little better looking in Mars Attacks, but I don't want to get too critical there. But yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I mean, these people. It's just like a comic book. It's like Saturday morning television. You know, it's like of that level. Not even as sophisticated. You know, really. I mean, it's just less sophisticated than Saturday morning. You know, it's not Land of the Lost. Or what was the other one with the Slee Stacks? I can't remember. Very heady science fiction that we were raised on. It's like
good stuff.
It's like Dostoevsky compared to these podcasters, honestly. Yeah, that's it. I know. It's just sorry. You know, we want to show you based clips of, you know, really cool people, but you can go find that for yourselves. We're here basically to expose the propagandists. Straight out of MK Ultra, says Kurt Boss. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Fraggle Rock is more edgy than these podcasts. You got it. Yeah. Here we go. Let's get into some hard news. Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv has been hit by an Iranian missile strike. Yep, that's the end. You see, Iran went and Israel attacked the Iranian airport. That's not exactly a wise move, because the main escape route out of Israel is Ben Gurion Airport, and everybody is trying to leave. And Iran has just hit Ben Gurion Airport. So, again, and the Houthis have hit it a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Ansar Allah also knows the Houthis. Yep, here we go. Here we go. Bring Syrian girl on. Yeah, we did have her on a little while ago. Maybe we'll do that again. She's very based. Syrian girl. She's almost too based to broadcast. She's borderline radical. Yeah, she is radical, actually. Lost in Space. Yeah, that's very edgy, says the tree girl. Yeah, very edgy, Lost in Space. Yeah, it's just, I mean, we were raised, this was very cerebral, the programming that we had. You know, you had to use your brains and your imagination. I like these podcasters, and it's embarrassing. It's really, I mean, did you see the Theo Vaughn, J.D. Vance interview? Everyone's raving about it. To me, it was a humiliation for the government, as he was just chucking softballs, and it was almost like the thing was pre-scripted. And why bother? But is that the level we're at?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. Kash Patel went on Joe Rogan's show, and he made a big point as soon as he got in the door to say that this was the only long form podcast he was going to do this year, or anytime soon, and he was looking forward to it, and blah blah blah. And it's just like, man, I remember when you guys were all vying to get into the White House. You were on all the podcasts all the time. You were getting on Twitter Spaces. You guys were available to the public, and I commented back then, this is novel, this is new, this is unique, and I'm somewhat dubious of it, but I appreciate the long form. Like, we want, the younger generation, or maybe not the youngest generation. We're kind of in between a generation that's completely skull plugged and another one that just doesn't give a crap about anything. Not all of you, don't take it personal if you're in those brackets and you watch the show, but like Generation X and a good portion of elderly millennials, we want longer form stuff. We want open format stuff, and I'll again hand it to them. That was brilliant to go through and do that and show that they're able to speak in long format and take questions that they weren't pre-scripted to do. They did a great job with that. But now it's like, where are you guys? You're no longer. You'll only pop up once on the Joe Rogan show for long form, huh? And then the rest are 2-minute hits on Fox News and Newsmax. That says something.
And never a challenging question, because it's like, oh, we're bros, and that's the kind of implicit agreement before you do it, is that there's not going to be any uncomfortable or challenging questions there. So it's just performative. It's actually worse in any ways in the mainstream media. USA has high-level military brass at Bilderberg. Yeah, Press for Truth. And so Bilderberg's finishing up this weekend, and it's all about drones, swarming, assassinations, AI. So
and depopulation. Again, that's the other thing people are sharing on X today, is that they're somewhere in their documents. And Dan Dix is out there. Shout out to Dan Dix, Press for Truth. Yep. He's one of those people that has, been a big pit bull in this. He's like second generation Bilderberg chaser, and Mark Anderson has been there many times. Also, our colleague Mark Anderson, you can find on UK Column with Patrick on Fridays, and oftentimes here in the Boiler Room at Alternate Current Radio. But yeah, Dan Dix is out there, and we're seeing more documents. They're much more public about it now. It's a very emperor wears no clothes feel to everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, Dan Dix chased Peter Thiel down the street. We reported on that Friday. That was a classic clip. Peter Thiel was just, what's with the fascist haircut? I just don't. It's just like, come on.
Between Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, it's just like, oh my God, who are these psychopaths? Like, they've said enough publicly now that we know Alex Karp in particular, CEO of Palantir, that person, he is about government control. He is about technocratic authoritarianism. He is about putting everybody in categories where eventually the whole right-left thing breaks down, and the real rule is the boot on the neck that says you cannot go against the government narrative. You can't go against the government or the mainstream narrative on anything. We don't care about your party anymore. You do what we say. That's, I'm paraphrasing for him, but that's what he's telling everybody. And we will use our technology to allow governments to stamp anyone down who wants to go against the government, whether it's over pandemics, wars, drugs, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a level playing field in the marketplace of ideas. That's one of my big criticism of Elon Musk. It's certain accounts get boosted, priority boosting, others don't, and you can see with
aren't
this.
You guys a fan of capitalism? What are you, communists?
Yeah, right. Free market. I'm a free marketeer for everything, including information, but we rarely get it. My Kangol dog has a tactical vest. Should I be worried, says Spirit Walker 108. Hesher, this is your department on two fronts there. Should we be worried?
No, if your best friends have four-legged furry friend tactical vests, I'm sure they're there just for you to hang an extra magazine off of. You'll be all right.
That's right. What do they call it? The therapy animals. I can't
Therapy
remember
animal, yeah.
what's the.
This is my tactical therapy Kangol.
Yeah, he's armed with a couple of extra clips, and this is a real thing. Actually, ZP Zap points out that Amazon is selling ice patches and gear. So beware. It's true. Actually, you can buy some of these government patches and paraphernalia. I mean, you could easily impersonate in this atmosphere, which is just basically no rules, anything goes, with like Yahoo cowboy behavior. I think you could probably get away with this. Actually, what do you think? Just get on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm
buy the
always
gear.
concerned when there's action happening around in the name of anything, because I've seen the videos, and oftentimes you see some of these suspects that have a complete black hood over their face. You don't know who they are or what, but you just assume since they're there with the other people and like, oh, look at the Mexican gang, but one guy's got the hood. How do we know that guy was part of the Mexican gang, or that was not just an extra guy that they wanted to swoop out of the community right in front of everybody? And where did Bob go? We don't know. We found out 3 weeks later he disappeared. Weird.
Yeah, and serious though. Being serious, will Israeli false flags be against a U.S. ship or military base on the U.S. mainland? Wouldn't be the first time. Chattanooga shooting, that was to me a staged event. Nadal Hussain, I think that was somewhat MK Ultra E, somewhat staged Jolly and West type thing going on there. There were so many of those. You remember in the wonderful 2015
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino. 2015 was the year of the Daily Shooter. We remember that 10 years ago. We should do a 10-year anniversary of the Daily Shooter. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities there, right? What do you think? It's all for the taking. We'll just a couple of final comments, guys, and we'll probably wrap up this discussion. There's a lot more that we could say and cover as well, but we'll see what they say.
There was a movie where what it took to get everybody on board was they killed all the Baldwin brothers, right? Was that South Park?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Baldwin, there's so many of them. How many
That would
Baldwin
do it, right?
brothers are there? There's about 6 of them. They're all enacting. Yeah, Amazon sold nostalgic memorabilia with Auschwitz motives and hearts. That's weird, Chinese made. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can see there is Nazi paraphernalia around, iron crosses and the like. I saw one in a jewelry store recently. It's going for 195 pounds. That's about $250 US for an actual SS Iron Cross. So, I mean, it is they're around in antique stores. You can get that sort of the real McCoy if you collect such things. For some people do. There's a lot of enthusiasts. World War II memorabilia, including people who collect Nazi gear. Believe it or not, the helmets used to be quite trendy for the motorcycle gangs. Those helmets. Yeah, folks. Yeah, we're going to leave it there. Oh, here's a Theo Vaughn. Let's see. I've not screened this comment. Theo Vaughn spoke about the plight of the Palestinians with J.D. Vance, but Vance dismissed the idea that they were being genocided. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know if we can call it genocide, said J.D. Vance. That was so weak. If you're going to evade that question, there's 100 ways you could have done it. That was pretty weak and is kind of embarrassing, but it shows you he's completely cucked to the lobby. And as I said, guys, how old is he? 40? 42? Vance? He's a kid.
Yeah.
He's a kid. I don't think he's qualified to run the country. He's a good speaker. He's competent, but inexperienced and easily placed under the thumb of more powerful and crafty people than himself. That's the problem with those types of people. No experience. I think a young Obama was like that as well, by the way. A young Obama. He's one of the youngest presidents in U.S. history. Barack Hussein Obama. And he was taken over by deep state interests very quickly. He was I think he was from the beginning, actually, but that's a separate story. So your final thoughts, guys. We've gone through the full gambit here. And I didn't talk about the march to Gaza. I don't know if I have one of those to show or not, but we had one of our reporters is on there being attacked by the Israeli authorities. Sisi hired goons, Bedouin goons, to attack them. She got assaulted with her phone stolen as well, and managed to do a counterattack, wrestle a grown man down, and get her phone back, which I was very impressed. But we didn't have time to collate any videos here, but there's one I want to show you just to make a point. Yeah, so like as the Palestinians are getting genocided, as World War III is breaking out, the Egyptian government is attacking people who are demonstrating and trying to help the Palestinians. Can you believe it? The Egyptian government, they're real beauties. We'll see this. Let's see if we can bring this up. Those are the nice ones. These weren't the hired mobs. Those videos are pretty bad. I mean, real dangerous place to be, especially if you're a young lady. So the Egyptian government were raiding hotels in Cairo, and people who were doing this march across the Sinai. Thousands of people came to Cairo. A lot of French and Spanish were deported. They were raiding, taking phones, demanding passwords, or they get thrown in jail. The whole thing. And so that's what the Egyptian governments are doing for the Palestinians, attacking people that are trying to get them, trying to get aid to them. That's what the Egyptians are doing. Shameful. That's the government. That is a military dictatorship there with al-Sisi. So I'm not saying the people of Egypt are like that. I don't think so. But the government and these hired goons that they hired to attack protesters, it's pretty shameful. Egypt has a lot. The government has a lot to answer for, and eventually they probably will. They have facilitated what's been going on next door, sadly. But we're not, it's hard to get some people to see that for what it is. But, all the Arabs besides the Lebanese, and that's it. And the Yemenis. Aside from that, it's the Iranians. But where's the Gulf? Where are the Egyptians? Where are the Jordanians? Where are the Turks? The Iraqis, they're putting up a little bit of a resistance, but that's a messed up country. But so it's up to the Iranians to balance the scales of justice. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Anyway, I'm glad that we had Hawes on the program. He's one of the election organizers for the Workers' Party of Britain. That's George Galloway's party. And I've got to know Hawes over the last couple of years, especially on Twitter, X Spaces, and seen him. He's very passionate. Obviously, he's of Iranian background, so this is really a big thing for him. So yeah, it was great to have him on. He's very animated on this issue, and so we got our audience to get a taste of that. I think is really good. Your final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap it up.
Hey, thanks for having us, and great show. I really hope that this can all de-escalate appropriately, and that the right things happen. Again, I would call for my government to step back. Don't get us involved in this. That's not what this presidency was voted in on. That was not the deal here. So, yeah, it was great to be here. Big thanks to Hawes. Happy Father's Day to my dad and all the dads out there today. And catch us in the boiler room Thursday nights live. There we go. Got a great graphic up there that Ruckus made for us in the boiler room. We had a great boiler room this week, and we're looking forward to another one next week. There's MAGA on the world.
I like that one better.
Roller coaster. Yeah, that one's awesome. So we'll see you in the boiler room, and of course here at Sunday Wire next week. We need your support. alternatecurrentradio.com/support if you want to support us. And if you can't, just get out there and share our material. We appreciate that. And thanks for having me. And we'll do it again soon, I hope. And see you next time, Pat.
Great to have you with us. I appreciate you guys and your commentary. Ruckus, go ahead, take it away.
I sure do like making all of these graphics. So if you want to check out all the cool, fun graphics that I make for Boiler Room, Sunday Wire, my own program, everybody else's programs when I can, go to alternatecurrentradio.com. It's fun. And if you produce content for yourself and you need help making graphics, hit me up as the Word Slinger, of course. I just completed a Word Slinger project. I'm going to have a little free time to dust off the microphone and the Ruckus Vision and produce some fresh content for the Daily Ruckus this week. So stay tuned for that. On Monday, tomorrow, I will be doing my regular bit next to Sam Cheney on weaponized news. So make sure to check that as well. And then, of course, you'll probably see me for Boiler Room on Thursday alongside my friends and colleagues, hosted by Hesher there. All right. So there you go. Thanks for having me. And I'll just leave it at this. God bless each and every one of you, and may God save this republic, hopefully.
Yeah, and the planet, too. Thank you guys, Hesher and Ruckus, Bryan McClain, Adam Clark, thank you, and also to our friend Uncle Hawes in the first part of Overdrive. Very good numbers today. Obviously, everyone's tuned in to content, so because of what's happening with Israel, Iran, and where America is going to slot into that. Who knows what happened while we were broadcasting, and things, the whole thing could have been flipped on its head. So I have to go back into the information grind. Thank you, gentlemen. Do keep an eye on the feeds of these gentlemen too, and do follow their work and other programs there, again, on the Boiler Room and the Daily Ruckus on the Alternate Current Radio Network. We'll get a good generic ACR graphic too, hopefully. That's one on our list we'd like as well, Ruckus. So yeah, something enticing to bring people to the mothership. That will be amazing as well. That's all we've got time for today. Great program. I appreciate our audience too, especially for your participation in the comment threads. And we really appreciate your support. Obviously, many of you have supported us. And again, all the archives to this show are available here at the Sunday Wire archive. So just go to our website and you'll see the Sunday Wire tab. There's a new midweek Wire tab. We've been a little bit slow, but boy, did we have an incredible program on Wednesday on the midweek Wire with Dr. Frank Romano, the Gaza Freedom Flotilla, and Freddie Ponton. That was a tremendous broadcast. Sound like Trump there. Tremendous broadcast. It was a great show. Very informative. We got blocked to high heaven on YouTube on that. So if you guys can go to our YouTube channel, 21st Century Wire TV, and help us to like, share, and subscribe to that channel, please, because we are so throttled on that platform, it's not even funny. So we need to physically move our content. We need your help. Share it on social media, like and subscribe. To watch some of it if you can. On those platforms, just to keep it alive on YouTube, but we appreciate it. Midweek Wire, Sunday Wire as well. Both of those are available on the archives as well. So great job to our team as well. Support us. We need your help. A lot of you guys have donated. I really appreciate that. Many of you have come in there and been real clutch players for us. But as you can see, we're producing amazing content on a daily basis. Our research now, we've got a nice research team. We've also got a great viral video team as well, and that content is going out daily on different platforms. It's making a difference. So there's different ways you can support us. Obviously, we'd like you to subscribe and become a member at 21wire.tv. That's just for a little bit over $5 a month, and it's one way you can support us regularly on a rolling basis. And so if you're listening now and you're a regular listener and you're not subscribed, go to 21stcenturywire.com, get the monthly 21wire.tv. If we can get just even a few more dozen people to subscribe and join that, it makes a huge difference and allows us to do a lot of stuff as well. And we are continually building out that member site as well. So there's still a lot of work to do. Obviously, we are trying to keep track of the news and stay up with major world-changing events. And you can also see me live at the UK column on Friday. I'm anchoring the news there with Mike Robinson. We've done some powerful broadcasts every week as a really impactful program. So again, we're trying to keep track and keep pace with world events. So we're doing our best. I think we're making an impact. And thank you to you guys for supporting that. So, and again, thank you to our team. That's all we've got time for today. This has been the Sunday Wire, episode 551 of this weekly Omnibus News and Analysis radio program. Again, I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. It's been absolutely amazing. And we'll leave you with a few musical treats before we break. And first and foremost, nothing is more apt than the amazing track by our friend Joseph Arthur. And boy, do we need help. Do we need help? The world needs it right now. Take care, you guys. All the best. I'll see you on the midweek. Check out 21stcenturywire.com.
Sides when their mothers cry, and no real way to justify their death that comes from an evil sky. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. Damaged like a nuclear bomb, dressed in a kill box. People can't escape. They're told to leave, but where can they go? A genocide, some think is biblical faith. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. Might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? Digital images and digital lies cut out their heart along with their supply. The propaganda leads to dehumanize our fellow humans and silence their cries. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. say about who we are? This might be the last time. Raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are?
All of the pictures left unpainted, all of the games they left unplayed, all the laughter in the playground, all of the art they never made. Ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. All of those voices left in silence, all with their names written in kind, lest their bodies pulled from rubble, lifeless empty dolls to find. Ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. What are the songs they've never written? What are the words they'll never sing? And the darkness of the nightmare inescapable that brings the ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. I hear the crying helpless children, God's most precious and most dear. I hear them begging for the reason. How could you ever leave us here? I close the eyelids of a million Palestinian children. So what do we really stand for? Is this how our future's made? And when we ever find the courage to stand up unafraid, I tear away the persecution of the Palestinian children. Rise up and be the guardians of the Palestinian children. To respect our obligation, every creed and every nation, 'cause every soul deserves protection. Save the Palestinian children. Save the Palestinian children.